I'm actually recording, and that's Mrs. Beckett eating her breakfast right there. Have a look, everybody. This is getting long. I'm just saying. Just saying. Okay, today's grammar. Grammar is going to be a little bit more advanced. It is active and passive voice, so let's not mess around. Here we go. Understanding active and passive voice. So this is a little bit more of writing rather than punctuation, and but it's still pretty important. So transitive verbs can be active or passive. Therefore, sentences can be described as being in the active or passive voice. So this is just how to make your writing sound and read a little bit more forcefully and a little bit more clearly. So just a little bit about basics of sentence structure. So the mechanic fixed the car. Fixed is the verb. The subject is the mechanic. And the mechanic is also the one performing the act of the action of fixing. The subject or the object of the car, or the object of the sentence is the car. So subject mechanic, object car, verb fixed. So the car is not performing the action, but it's being acted upon. Okay, so understand. Can you identify the verb and object in the following sentences? The tall boy jumped for the ball. James and Susan ran a marathon today. The pizza was eaten at lunchtime. She will write a play for the drama club, and the dishes were washed by Juan. Okay, so I'm going to pause it and see if you can identify the verb and object, the subject, verb, and object in the sentence. So pause it here and find out which ones are which. And we're back. So all the verbs: jumped, ran, was eaten, will write, were washed. And all the subjects are in the red, and all the objects are in green. Did you get all those? So all sentences have, not all sentences have an object. Not all of them do. Some of them can be an implied. Now, can you identify whether the subject is performing the action or being acted upon? This is the difference between active and passive voice. So these are the subjects that are performing the action. So the tall boy jumped for the ball. James and Susan ran. She will write. So those are all active. These are passive. These are subjects that are being acted upon. So the pizza was eaten, or pizza was eaten at lunchtime. The dishes were washed by Juan. So the subjects in these cases, right, pizza and the dishes, are these are passive voice. So that's the difference. That's the difference between active and passive. So if the subject is the thing performing the action, the sentence is active. And if the subject is being acted upon, the sentence is passive. Okay, so we'll do a few more things just to kind of get that in your mind. So let's focus on the active voice. In active sentences, the first thing performing the action is the subject of the sentence, and the being acted upon is the subject. Most sentences are active. So for example, Sarah is eating an apple. So Sarah is the subject, and she is the one performing the action of eating. Passive voice. So in passive sentences, the thing being acted upon is the subject of the sentence, and the thing doing the action is optionally included near the end of the sentence. So for example, an apple is being eaten by Sarah. So the apple is the subject of the sentence, but it is the thing being acted upon, being eaten. And note that this part is optional. You could just say an apple is being eaten. Okay. Can you tell if the following sentences are in the active or passive voice? Press pause and just check to see if you can do it. All right. So we're going to the cinema tonight is active. The whole road was built by 5 men is passive. The stories were read to them by the teacher is passive. Ria sent her letter to the police is active. And the forms will be signed by the manager is passive. There's some slightly less obvious ones. So the car was fixed. What's the subject? The car. Is the car performing the action of fixing? Nope, it's being acted upon. So it is in the passive voice. What sometimes trips people up here is that we don't know who is doing the fixing, but that doesn't matter. Shut the door. Is that active or passive? What's the subject? That's the problem. Doesn't seem to be one. There's an implied subject. So this is an imperative. It's a special type of sentence. It's like a command. Shut the door. Most commands are in the active voice. Why is any of this important? The key question. When writing a sentence, you may want to place the emphasis on different elements of the sentence. So, active, a mysterious thief stole an expensive painting. Here the emphasis is on the thief. An expensive painting was stolen by a mysterious thief. Here the emphasis is on the painting. So it changes like what's important in the way you word the sentence, and it can kind of be it can show a bias, or just like what's important and what's not within the context of a larger piece of writing. So newspaper headlines is super important. So this is a passive voice here. London revealed as the world's busiest city. So the choice of passive tense here is it emphasizes London. So if you were a London paper, you might want to put that and have that emphasized first. But passive voice, passive tense sounds clumsy and incorrect. So why would anyone ever use it? Reason number one is if the doer of the action is unknown. This sacred text was written in the 15th century. So if they didn't know who did it, they could write it in the passive voice. Reason two, the doer of the action is not important. A cure for cancer has been discovered. That's like, if you're once again like a headline or something like that, it's not really important as the actual fact that it's been discovered. Reason three, you do not want to specify who is the performer of the action. Mistakes have been made. So for corporates or public relation, you don't want to basically, say who is the person who made the mistake. If it's a group of people and you want to spread blame across a bunch of people, mistakes have been made. You don't want to, you're not even really identifying what the mistake was either. So it's kind of a way of getting around that. And then 4, you are speaking about a general truth. Rules are made to be broken. So passive voice, but it's kind of an aphorism, a saying, and it's this general truth. So, how do you work out if a sentence is written in the passive or active voice? Find the main finite verb in the sentence, then find the subject and identify. Is the subject acting? Is the subject performing the action? Then it's active. Is the subject the thing being acted upon? Passive. Hopefully you can now use the passive and active voice correctly in your writing. So there's a sheet for you to sort of practice. I don't expect you to know this right off the bat. It takes a while because it's a little bit more complex than just the simple sort of punctuation stuff we've been doing on the weekly. So there's a worksheet for you on the website to check out, as well as you can look back over your hyphens and dashes and see how you did on that. All right, have a great day and happy Monday, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.